try to have an lengthier sessions. Okay, guys, everyone.
Sure.
Perfect. Now, in order to have this particular transportation management in our 1909 system, ideally we have to, the very first thing is we ideally need to have some certain organizational structure in our systems, right? So when I'm talking about some kind of an organizational structures, what do you mean by an organizational structure here? Can anyone tell me?
You need the logical system first of all. Of course, there is other
Yeah,
things which is company code, transportation
exactly.
points, shipping
Yeah,
points, and everything. But
basically what we are trying to understand, yes, ideally the first thing was your system connections, like what,
yeah,
how the system is going to connect from your ERP to your transportation management system, and that is a kind of a basis activity in the real time where those people will be taking care of it, like creating your logical systems and creating your business system groups and all. Okay, that I'll
yeah.
put it aside for the time being. However, now coming to the core functionalities, like the core business of our transportation, how does the transportation management system will identify in order to tell you that what kind of the scenarios that we are trying to look it after. So the very first thing, as I said earlier also, that we will be always focusing on two things only, guys. As being as a shipper scenario, the other one as being my transportation, which is of my LSP scenarios. Okay, when I talk about my shipper scenarios here, ideally, yes, as part of a manufacturing industries in any of the existing ERP plants, I would require some set of an org structure to build up from my TM system also. Ideally, because I need to link the same organizational structure to my ERP to my TM as well. Agreed, everyone?
Correct.
Now, in order to have that kind of an organizational structure in our TM systems, ideally what we're supposed to do here, we will be dealing with such as your few things like what your company code. Okay, but normally in real time we will also not do this, the company code creations where your finance guys will be doing it on your materials and your sales, your OTC, and as well as your procurement guys will be doing it. But this information is very much important for us for the from the TM perspective, as being this is the one, sorry, this is the one which we are going to integrate mostly for our TM systems. Okay, where we'll try to have your company codes. Okay, and then we'll try to have your plans, right? And then we'll try to have your sales related informations, and ideally what we would be requiring apart from that, we would be requiring your storage locations and other informations and your materials, right? So these are all the other basic information that we would be requiring in our organizational structure. Now, in order to have this org structure to create in our TM system, we basically need to link it. How we need to link it? Okay, so the very first thing was, this is a kind of an org structure which will create it in the ECC system, guys. Okay, basically. Okay, now the same way we also need to have the organizational structure linked to our TM systems. Okay, how are we going to link it? So we basically use a transaction called as PPOC. Okay, so that's how we will try to link it, and then we will do it, guys. That's kind of another stuff and all. That's, don't worry about that. The creation part and all, we will see it. But what is the purpose of doing it? The basic thing which we need to understand here, right? Now, first thing, let me just try to make it understand. What are we trying to do here? Hello?
Hey, Sri, one question on this one. See,
Yeah,
is
please.
this similar to the SIF integration?
Safe integration is not required for us in the S4 systems, the very first thing.
Okay, yeah, yeah, correct. But like,
Mm.
is it like the PPOC is
No, 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 no. It is
no?
not at
Okay.
all about the Safe. It is completely dependent on our TM systems only. For
Oh,
that
okay,
sake,
okay.
let me just, yeah, to precise, because it's the first, I don't want to get into system directly and just do the configuration,
No,
guys.
no, I understand.
Let
Yeah.
me just, yeah, because I need to give an idea like why are we doing it at least, right? Give me a second. I'm just trying to open one of the PPTs which I've prepared for my clients. At least that would help you out. Can you see the screen again or still not?
No.
What about now?
Yes.
Perfect. So this is what we will try to do it, guys. Okay. But ideally, there are multiple things in place again. We'll just come one by one. Now, this is what we are trying to focus off mostly. What is it? Which is a shipper. Like what we are trying to do, it's something of an order. Then we'll plan it, and then we'll ship it, track it, and then we'll settle it. So this is a kind of a scenario. But which I don't want to talk it over here. In order to first thing, what we always try to do is what are we trying to do in a transportation management? Basically, guys. Anyone? What we try to do? Basic question.
Ship
Transfer
What
the
we
goods
do? Ship
from
in this.
like those good items.
Exactly. We transfer the goods
transfer
from
the
where?
goods, yeah.
Exactly, from one location to another location, depending
Sure.
upon your mode of transportation, right?
Correct.
Whether it could
Correct.
be a road or whether it could be a rail or air or ocean or whatever it is. The basic the concept here in a transportation is we try to ship the goods on the what basis again, shipping on different types of shipping types, whether it could be a full truckload or less than truckload or a containers or an oceans or whatever it is, that depends on your shipping types. That's fine. But ideally, the basic concept in the transportation management is all about transporting the goods from one location to another location by planning and appropriate vehicles. Means in the transportation management system, all the time we will always talk about something called as a resources, guys. Okay, that resources only we will call it as a trucks or whatever it is. Okay, that we'll discuss it in detail. Okay, now okay, now if I come back, so these are all the standard or EWM embedded systems and all, which I don't want to discuss here. Now the very first thing what I want to discuss here is, okay, in the organizational structure, what are the ones which we would be requiring here? Okay, so if I go back here, if you see that, I would be requiring something called as a purchasing organizations, guys. Okay, the first one, and the second one I would be requiring my sales organizations, guys. Okay, all right, and then I would be requiring my planning executions, which we'll create in the system. So why do we define and why do we need this, everyone? Because these are the data which we will be creating in our ECC system, and that data again we need to map it to our transportation management system. Hello, am I
Yeah.
getting it here,
Correct.
guys?
Any the
Yeah,
reason is like
Yeah. Yeah.
same orders and all we are going to replicate in TM. That is the reason we need to create this org structure.
I'm sorry, can you please come back again? What is that?
Means like whatever the orders
Mm,
we are going to create in like ECC
mm,
system, same thing we need to
mm.
replicate in TM. That is the reason we need all this structure there.
Ideally, we will never replicate it into the TM system. It is not something like an EWM. I mean, I'm sorry. Are you
Okay.
from EWM background? I'm so sorry.
No, I'm from MM and SD background.
Okay, no, we are not going to replicate it ideally. So it's something like what we do is we create a planning documents basically. Okay, we will never replicate any data to our transportation unless and until if it is a master data here. The reason behind why are we linking this purchasing organization and a sales organization, other stuff is like, for example, let's consider all we are from an MM backgrounds, I believe, and SD backgrounds. Everyone knows what is the concept of a subcontracting, right?
Yes. Yeah.
what what
Yes.
what exactly it does, guys? What is the purpose of a subcontracting?
Like if you want to send a material for a service, we are not really buying anything,
Exactly,
but you're making for a service,
exactly.
right? So
We will try to make out of some service from that. Agreed,
correct.
everyone?
Yep.
Now
Yeah.
we are discussing about two scenarios, right? What are those? Shipper and then
Shipper and
And
LSP,
LSP.
LSP.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. What does this shipper does here? Basically, a shipper is nothing but it could be your one of your manufacturing industries, like your Nestle or your Coca-Cola or maybe your Rudi Laboratories or whoever, for example. Let's take that, okay? Or maybe any of your agriculture business or maybe anything else, okay? Whoever is already having an ECC system in place, for example, in that scenario, okay? Now we want to know how does your transportation management is happening, means you would like to know how your transportation is being created, I mean like is being planned or is being settled or is being happening. What we will do, we will try to first create a sales order. In a sales order, what information we will try to have, guys, here, basically, or maybe in your outbound delivery, anything. What information
Ship
we
from,
normally,
ship to,
exactly,
ship, and route.
it's something, exactly. We will always have two different things. One is about my ship to, another one is about my ship from. What is a ship to?
Where
Destination.
get delivered, destination.
Um, I'm sorry, your voice is crackling. What is that?
Destination basically where we are
Exactly.
like
Ship to
delivering the
is
goods.
your destination location. Perfect. Ship from is from your source location,
So
obviously, right?
yeah,
Basic thing, right? Now, when we are creating a sales order, against that sales order, what happens? We will have an outbound delivery getting created. Agreed. Based on your material availabilities or whatever the checks we have, we'll have that delivery getting created. Make sense? I'm talking in a system perspective guys here, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. Once we have a delivery getting created, now this is the place where we will decide what kind of a vehicle that we will be planning here, right? Agree to my
yes,
point, everyone?
Based on
Because
what you're available. I mean, based on what you're transporting, right?
exactly, based on what you're trying to transport in your items, like whether it could be your dangerous goods or whether it could be your products or whatever it is, XYZ. So, based on your products, we will decide whether it could be a truck or whatever. So, that is where the initial step of document gets created in our ERP system, which is nothing but your freight unit, guys. The basic thing.
Okay.
Am I
So
making sense? First point.
freight unit gets created in the ERP system, or is it in the TMS? So imagine if it's a
ERP
standalone system,
system.
right?
ERP
Oh, okay.
system. I'm sorry, sorry, sorry. What is it?
Okay.
What is it? I'm sorry. Come back, come back. What is your point?
See,
I'm so
if
sorry.
it's a standalone, imagine like
Uh,
it's not an
uh,
embedded system, but if it's a
uh,
standalone
then,
TMS
then,
system,
then,
where does the
then,
freight unit gets created?
exactly, exactly. Then that point of time, you will not have a freight unit. You'll have something called as an OTR and DTR. That's a
Right. Yeah.
transportation request. Based on your
Yes.
transportation request, you'll have a freight unit getting created. That's a different concept in decentralized systems.
Okay.
But
Yep.
as being
Yep.
we're
Yep.
focusing on an S4, that's the
S4.
reason I'm
Yeah.
talking about a freight unit. Because in a decentralized
Yeah.
system, we
Sure.
do not have this things getting created. It's completely eliminated. Okay,
So
keep
from
that
a
in mind.
technical standpoint, from technical
Hmm,
system standpoint, in the embedded
hmm,
S4 system in 1909,
hmm,
the freight unit
hmm.
falls under the S4, not under the TM side of it. Of course, because it's both in the same system, but like
It's
from
it's ideally I say that it's the start document for my transportation system. So basically I
okay,
can say, but it gets created only in my S4 only. But that
okay,
particular document will be replicated or not replicated, I can say, but it will be shown in my transportation systems. That's it.
transportation system. Yep, yep,
Yes. Okay. Now that is where now what we are trying to do, let's come back to the business process now. So we have created a delivery and then we decided, okay, this whatever the trucks or whatever it is, we have decided based on our means of transport or whatever, we have decided this, for example. Then what we do, then we will select a carrier, right?
yes,
Who is the
yes.
carrier now here? Who is the carrier now? Tell me.
Whoever transports the material from one point to the other point, right?
Example, a real-time examples. It could be a
forwarding
FedEx
agent.
or a DHL
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
DHL,
Canonical.
UPS, anyone. Yeah,
Yes, UPS or QNT or Canonical, whoever it could be, right? A person who is responsible for transporting your goods. Agreed?
yep.
Everyone.
yes, yes,
So now here, what are we trying to do? If you understand clearly, we are subcontracting the process there. Agreed?
yes,
Yes, yes.
Because we are giving the service to a third party person and he is trying to make the service available. I mean, so he is doing it, and then in return, what we do here in return, what are we getting it? In return, we will be getting a service PO. I'm talking in the system perspective, guys. Don't get confused here. Okay, an
Yeah, yeah.
end-to-end process I'm talking here. Okay, so why I'm telling you this now? In order to have, why should I have my purchase organization here? You got my point? Then that point of time, I would be requiring a purchase order to be created in my system. What purchase order was that? It
service PO,
was exactly, it was a service PO I was expecting to create. So in order to create a service PO in my system, I should have a purchase organization in maintained in my
Yeah, purchase
transportation management.
organization.
Make sense now?
Correct.
yes,
Yep.
Everyone, do you
So
understand why?
this purchase organization
Please.
is technically for the service
Hmm.
portion, right?
Exactly. It's
See, there
technically
can
for a
be
service
there can be
portion.
different purchase organizations, right? Yeah. Okay.
There could be multiple purchase organizations, but ideally, what is the purpose of maintaining it down the line? That we need to understand, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That is what the main thing. Why are we maintaining this purchasing, and why the organizational structure only for specific purchase organization and purchasing groups that we'll be maintaining it? Yes, that's the first thing. Okay, am I clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah. Now coming to the second part, sales organizations. In what scenario the sales will come? This sales organizations will always come into the picture if you are using an LSP. What is an LSP now? We'll talk in the business scenarios. What is an LSP, guys?
Like LSP is like a transportation organization who is like doing the transportation behalf of the manufacturing company.
Come back and what is it? I missed it in between. Sorry.
So LSP scenario basically like transportation
Mm.
organization like who take care of like only transportation
Perfect.
activity. So
Perfect.
who takes the
Exactly.
order
So
requirement.
it would be the same example what I said. For example, it would be a FedEx. So I doesn't care about whoever the customers who is coming to me. For example, if I want to send a shipment, a kind of a documents somewhere from in India to somewhere to in Italy, for example. So obviously the DHL will tell me that okay, based on your weight or based on your volume or whatever it is, the DHL will tell you some so and so cost. So I was just a one of a customer to him. I'm not a regular customer to him, right? I'm a one-time customer to him. The same way he would be having a multiple customers. There would be some long-term customers and there would be some one-time customers to him. So, and LSPs are the scenarios who are the one who would be responsible only for the transportation services. That's it. They will not be having any ERP systems in place, but ideally they will be making use of this transportation management systems, but they will be created from a forwarding orders, not from a sales orders. Make sense, guys? Everyone?
Yes.
So that
Yes.
is an LSP scenario. In that point of time, we would. So what are we trying to do there? We are selling something there. We are selling our services. To whom you are selling it? We are selling it to a
Manufacturing.
specific customers. Means no, not to manufacturing. Right? It's to me, right? Basically,
Yeah.
I'm an individual person. I'm approaching to FedEx and I'm asking him to move my shipment from Hyderabad to somewhere in India and to somewhere in Europe to Italy. So it's my service. So who will be the customer? Right? I'm a customer to him and he is my LSP. Right?
Right. But in this case, when in the LSP case, they
Mhm.
are using the SAP TMS, right?
Exactly. In this
Okay.
case, LSPs are the one who are using SAP TMS. Then that point of time, they will be using a sales organization, then not a purchasing organizations, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because
Because
they are
they are
selling.
selling their service.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're selling their services. In the first point, we are making use of their services. Now you got my point?
Yep.
Yeah.
That is why we would be requiring these two things, guys. Okay. One is a purchasing organization, the other one is of my sales organization. And the third one would be my planning organizations. Planning is nothing but it's like even a separate plan is who will be doing your planning. Because in case of an intermodal transportations where you will be dealing with, and of the same example which we took it, a shipment which needs to reach from an Hyderabad to somewhere in Italy. Like we have a multiple mode of transportations, road, air, or road, ocean, or rail, ocean, right? Each and every planner would be different again, right? A person who is responsible for a rail, he will not be looking for a road. Agreed?
Yep.
Yes.
So these are all things which comes in a later point, but why are we doing this in upfront? That is why the reason I'm trying to tell you out here, okay? First thing. Am I clear? When it comes to an
Yeah.
organizational structure, guys. This
Yeah.
is what which we are supposed to create in the system. In order to create in the system, we initially have to build it from the scratch. All these activities, guys. Okay, which we'll do it later
So
part.
the planning organization is similar to what your MRP controllers would be on the planning side, right? Like
Yes, your
record production.
multiple MRP planners, you'll be having
Yeah.
it, right? The
Yep.
same kind of thing. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
clear? This is an organizational structure.
Yes.
But when it comes to another point, coming as a master data, we would be requiring a master data, right?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Like, what is a master data? For example, in any module, what would be a master data, guys?
Master data is something that you create one time and use it in everywhere else. That is the
Exactly. It's a kind
core
of
concept.
Yes, it's a kind of a one-time activity we will set up, and based on that, we will try to run our business, right?
Yep.
Now, when I'm talking about something, for example, mm, yep. So coming back to your question, you said that this is what you asked me earlier, right? Whenever we create it, we'll have a transportation requirement. This is the OTR, and then based on that, we'll create in freight units. Okay. Hello.
Yep. Correct.
Yeah, this is a kind of a decentralized system version which I
System.
was talking
Yep.
about, but we are not in the decentralized one. So this step, what happens is it's ruled out. Everything is in one box now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I just want to show you is one of my kind of thing. I don't have it here. This is a load planning here. No, I don't have it at all. Gosh, shit. Okay, not an issue. That that's in different PPT. This is for one of the client which we prepared, and I'm just making use of it. Okay. Now what I want to say is, okay, for example, guys. Now locations. What could be locations? For example, let's take in this way. Hello.
Yeah.
Look.
So the locations would be anything ship to ship. Mainly your plant addresses will become locations, your shipping points. All of your
It
shipping
could
points
be
will
your
be.
shipping point. Exactly. So that's what it could be, your shipping point, or it could be your warehouse,
Plants,
or it could be your plants, or it could be your dock
vendor,
location,
customer,
or it could be your customer locations. It could be anything. It could be your ports, or it could be your hub. Anything. All these things are the ones which will fall under your locations, guys. First thing. Make
Yep.
sense?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what which we will try to make use of it, the very basic thing. Okay. Now coming to the other one, which is of a business partners. In the S4 landscape, we will never talk about your customer master separately and a vendor master separately. It's all included into one single transaction, which we call it as a business partner. Am I clear? So this particular
yeah,
business partner, whatever we are trying to do here, ideally, this is the one where we will try to have in the S4 system getting created. Okay. Hello.
yeah,
Yep.
Right. Now all these things, now coming back in the earlier versions, guys, it's a hell lot of data which we used to transfer it from one system to another system. But now it is not that's the case. We do not need to transfer it ideally. You're getting me? Hello?
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We do
Yeah.
not need to, sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. I tried this day before yesterday in my system.
We do not need quite need to transfer this ideally. So we have a plant creating as a locations and customer creating, but now we will be directly doing it in the S4 case. Okay. In that point of time, obviously we would be requiring a core interface, and that's the one which we'll be doing it there. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I clear? Or any questions
Correct.
here? The same way, we have a multiple things which needs to be created, like your products, your plant and your shipping points, and your rates and your vehicles and your lanes and zones, a lot of things, guys. Okay, these are all the master data that we would be requiring in order to create your the basic master data in the transportation management systems. Make sense, everyone now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now initially what we will try to do is we will start creating the master data. I mean to say that the organizational data, ideally, not the master data, to be honest. We will start creating the organizational data from the system, right? Like what
Yeah.
is a plant, or what is this, or all these things, right? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Sir.
Okay, so these are all the ones which we will try to create step by step, and then we will take it forward, guys. Okay, so probably I'm just parking it here, guys, for the time being, because there are other couple of people also needs to join, it seems. So from Monday, I think we have a proper schedule, and then we will start getting it from the scratch level. Okay. Hello,
Okay.
am I there? I lost, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, no problem. So from Monday, we will take it forward accordingly, and then we will start creating everything in the system, and then we'll see step by step, guys. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
All right, then, guys. Okay. So, any questions to me,
Hey,
Sushil or
I have see one question. This
go
is
ahead.
more of consulting question on my side because I've been talking
Mm,
to SAP in this one.
mm,
So we are trying to buy the license. Now SAP came back, said you don't have the license and you cannot even use the TMS system. I said, like, I can use the basic TMS system without any issue.
Yes.
Was I right?
Yes, you're right. Because in an
Okay.
S4, we are having a basic TMS system, and that you can make use of it. But if you want to go for an advanced one, then you are supposed
Yeah,
to pay for that.
that one
Mm.
we are trying to negotiate that, but like that guy itself is
Based
like,
on the
whoever is the account
uh,
manager, like he didn't even know what TMS is probably, but
that really happens in this consulting world.
yeah, that's the reason. Okay, anyway,
Mm.
yeah, that's the only
Mm.
question I had. So
No, whenever you have an S4 S4, I'm not sure what version you're trying to use then.
1909, yeah, that's the latest. We
Then
have the latest one.
then the 1909 you can make use of the basic scenarios, whatever it is possible. But
Yeah,
the advanced one, that is not possible.
yeah,
That
yeah.
you
The
have to
advanced
make
one we are buying, trying to
mm,
buy that. So
exactly. So in top of it, you also need make sure that you have to have your optimizer and other stuff as well
yeah,
to
we
make
have the optimizer for APO, and then we'll probably
mm,
leverage that. But right now we are not
maybe yeah.
even like started. So
No problem. If that's the case, you can just use it. Okay.
yeah, sure.
No problem, guys. Okay. So we'll try to catch on Monday and then we will see accordingly, guys, and then we'll take it forward. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay, then. Perfect, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
yep, sure.
Bye.
Bye.
This
Nagraj and
conference will
Harsha.
now be recorded.
So we ideally were discussing like how does the scenario, like what kind of processes that we would be requiring in the business systems, and what kind of scenarios that we require to build up, right? Hello, which we discussed ideally.
Yeah, Shri.
Yeah. And today we will try to start creating the basic organizational structure, and from there we will try to integrate it to our ERP to TM systems. Okay, so ideally, as I said, that we have to integrate our purchase organizations and the sales organizations and all this org data, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now for did we start creating any of the org structures in the systems? I believe no, right?
No.
Okay, so let me just give you an overview of like what we will be trying to do in the first set, and then we'll come back to the configuration. As I said earlier last time, like we will be having your shipper and as well as your LSP scenarios in the business, and top of it, we have to start integrating the organizational structure. In order to integrate your organizational structure, we ideally requiring a transaction, which this is a transaction where we will be linking with our HR module as well, because this is a transaction where we'll be using by them also, which we'll call it as a PPOC transaction. And here where we try to map the organizations and as well as the other stuff. Now if you see this here, yeah, so there are multiple things here. Like ideally, as we discussed last time, that we'll be trying to create a company code followed by a plant, a storage locations, and top of it then we'll be having your purchase organizations and as well as your sales organizations, right? The same way we will try to maintain the same information as well, but we have to come here and we have to again assign to the same org IDs whatever we have defined in our ERP systems. Okay, the first thing. Hello,
Okay.
am I there?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, now the basic, I believe everyone knows how to create a basic org structures, right? Like what I mean to say that was
Yeah. Plants to location, purchase org.
exactly. So probably I'll start creating that. Okay, so we do not need to worry about much on this. Okay, so I'll be making use of the existing company code only, but ideal, okay, maybe if we want we can define a new one as well. Um, So I believe if everyone knows all these things, guys. So I'm not worrying about these explanation and all this stuff, right? Hello.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, Shri.
So we'll start creating our org structures one by one, and then we will see it slowly.
Yeah, this is Sharma. I just
Hi, Sharma.
yeah,
I'm sorry. Please go ahead, Sharma. You're asking me something.
no. Just now I joined in this class.
Oh, is it the first class for you, Sharma, as well, or you have already joined before? I'm not sure.
No, this is the first one, and he said demo. Is it demo?
Oh, demo we already had it in the last class, but this is the first. This would be our first session in the system that we are trying to configure it today. Ideally, the demo part was already been done for us the last week. I was not sure whether that was communicated or not.
Yeah,
Hello.
Kalyan Sharma, I'll share you a demo video. You can have a look at it. Okay, we'll discuss that. Okay,
So this is the second one, no? Second class.
this is class one. Okay.
This is a class one. Ideally, we are trying to configure in the system. Ideally, okay.
Fine.
So basically, okay, let me try to give you an overview like what we discussed in the last time. Like we discussed like what are the functionalities that we had it in the TM and what kind of an things that we'll be having it in S4 EW in TM as well. On top of it, we are trying to have the what do you say that the comparison between your decentralized and as well as your S4 landscapes. That is what in the demo part we discussed, and then we started with the business processes, like what kind of a business processes that we would be requiring in the transportation management ideally in order to have a certain, like ideally we will be talking about two different scenarios in the transportation management. One is about my shipper scenario and the second one would be about my LSP scenario. So these are the two important major topics that we will be focusing on the transportation management systems. This is what we had a brief discussions on it, and then we started creating an organizational structure in the system from the scratch. That is what we're trying to do it now. Okay, so Navin would be sharing you the demo part. Probably you can have a look into it, and if you still have any concerns in that part, you can let me know. If you're comfortable, then we can talk it accordingly. Okay. Hello.
That's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
So we are trying to define our own organizational structures and everything here. Okay. We do even have this. Oh God. Okay, just we need to remember that the company code we have created with TM01, and but the plant and all we are trying to create with TM05. Just want to make sure this because we already had that in the system. So here Now coming to the most important thing ideally, we already know what is like a sales organizations and other stuff, everyone, right? Hello?
Yeah, Shri.
Yes, Sri.
Yeah. So probably, okay, team 05 is not there, no? Okay. The same way, we will try to create a distribution channel and as well as a sales division as well, guys. Okay, which we would be requiring at the time of our sales and as well as in the LSP scenarios as well. I believe we need to, okay, that's okay. And when it is coming to the procurement side, we ideally would be requiring two things. One is about our this one. What is that, guys? Our say storage locations, ideally, right? This is the storage locations. We already had it. That's fine. I need to maintain another thing called as a purchasing organizations. So for what reason we would be requiring this purchasing organizations ideally is DM05. Okay, so I believe that okay, we need to create even the shipping point also, right? That's one thing we had. Okay, now we have defined it and let me assign everything. Okay, what was the company we have defined? We
TM01.
have defined TM01.
So you are going to cover both MM and SD side? I mean, using sales
Uh,
orders, purchase
Obviously, right?
orders
Because that's the
scenario.
reason I'm trying to create from the scratch again because we'll be having both inbound and as well as an outbound, right? Here.
Good.
I'm sorry. Plant is our TM05 and we need to assign the company code here. Okay, because even the sales, because the TM processes, we will have it even from the purchasing organization side as well. Like as soon as we create a purchase order, we will have this one, right? TM01 followed by TM05. Basically, this kind of an organizational structure, it is not the one we will be doing it in the real time. Either your OTC guys or your procurement guys will be doing it. think I'm not sure whether I've defined a division earlier. I don't think so. I've defined a division.
Or you did not define.
Okay, now I have to set up the link between all these three things, right? Okay, T5, T5. All right. Now I need to assign this to our sales organization and the distribution channel. That's the last thing we have, and the shipping point assignment. That's it. That's enough for us. Okay, I need to create a purchasing group also, guys. Just I'll keep it in mind. I got. It's taking such a long time. Oh my god. Is this going to open today? Okay. Now the last thing which we were supposed to do, oh, we have this one, purchasing organization also. All right. So basically, whatever the basic org structure that we would be requiring so far in order to create in our system that we have already created, guys. Okay. Now, this particular organizational structure, whatever we have done it so far in the system, now this needs to be linked to our transportation management system. In order to link this, we ideally directly can't. What I say that is, we can't transfer or distribute these org structures because even in the decentralized systems, we need to maintain this in a transaction called as PPOC. Okay, so this is a transaction where we will start creating our own org structures and everything. Okay, now coming to this point, so how are we going to create it? If you can see this, okay, right now if you see the new organizational ID, hello, am I
Actually, yeah.
audible? Okay. So to this particular organizational ID, if you see here, I'm trying to set up a kind of an hierarchy. if you see everything. Okay, so this was a, okay, like what I'll try to do is, first thing, let me just put it up something, TM05, right? Okay. Okay, so now if you go back to this organizational ID over here, if we click on this particular create, you see this, the system is trying to generate a kind of an internal number range, or maybe it would be generating an external number range as well. That's any of the things that should be fine. Here what we are trying to do, basically we are trying to tell what kind of an org ID that you are trying to map it. I'm trying to map a company, and which is of an organization. Now what was the company that I have created just now? Is it's TM01, right, everyone? And
Yes.
coming to a business system group, now ideally, as being we are trying to link our sorry, it's not EW, it's a TM to our ERP systems. So what are we trying to do now? In that case, this business system group will help you. It's a kind of a logical systems, whatever we are trying to map it here is. This particular business system group will be having your ERP one. So we will be having it as an S4H. You're getting my point, everyone? Hello?
Basically, we are entering logical system ID here.
Exactly. It's a kind of an ID. What are we, this particular business system group will have, can only assign to, okay, handle that. Oh, what is this? Oh, we should have,
Hey,
okay.
Sri,
What?
my
Ah,
question is, if if we are using EWM, can we use the
hmm.
same origin ID for that? I mean, I
Not a
know like
problem.
EWM also needs to have its own thing, right?
But origin ID in the sense, we will not use this one. This is only for the TM side. But the same
Only
company
TM
code
side.
and
Okay.
same other things, yeah, it's only required for your TM site, ideally. That's it. We will
Okay.
not be using
Okay.
this
Okay.
org ID in your EWM site. Okay.
Okay.
I
Okay.
made a simple mistake, guys. I'm just trying to delete this. Hold on, because I can't make it. Come on, I'll just read on this one. Wait, hold on. First thing. Okay. TM05. Okay. So here, if I go to my org ID, create. Okay. The company and the organization. So sorry, what is my this one? TM01. No? This is the one, and this is this one. Okay. Now what are we trying to do here? We will try to give an address for our particular company code. Okay. So probably I'll just try to put my address, whatever I have for the time being. Okay. Now to this company code, we will try to assign a hierarchy. What kind of an hierarchy now? First, let me save this one, guys. Okay. Yep. Now for this particular company code, what we can do, we can simply create a kind of an hierarchy in such a way that we are assigning our purchasing organizations and as well as your sales organizations to our company code here. You got my point, everyone? TM05-P org. Okay, so this particular one is a purchasing, and for this it's an organization. And what was our this thing? It's TM05, right? And the business system group, the S4H. And for this, okay, I'll be just using the same my company address as my this thing. Okay, And for this particular purchasing organization, we will also try to assign something called as a purchasing group again here. So what is the purpose of a purchasing group, guys? Any idea to anyone? Hello?
It's an individual or team who actually involves like identifying the source of supply.
Okay. So what does it ideally do basically? There should be some significance of it, right? What exactly it tries to do.
Like basically they are trying to identify the source of supply for that purchasing activity.
Yeah, basically it will have a multiple buyers or whoever, right, dealing with the
Yes, yes.
materials or whatever it is, right? So those are
Yeah,
the ones who will be responsible for them, right? Now you see
yeah.
each and every ID will be different for us, guys. But ideally, we need to make sure what kind of an group, I mean, like to that respect to ID, I mean, to that respect to purchasing group, we are supposed to assign the ERP org ID here. Okay, first thing. Hello,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, someone is asking me something.
No, like a
Hello.
group we are maintaining here. What is the like ARC data from
Uh,
ERP we are going to maintain?
we have to create it. We didn't create it yet, right? Because we only created the purchasing organization, and that
Okay.
particular organization we have maintained TM05. The same way I have to create a purchasing group, which I didn't do it. Now I'll be doing it. Okay. Then I'll try to create another one also, which is of my sales organization now, because because there will be two things. I was always repeating this. Right, and now here to this particular sales one, and this was an ID. Okay, we'll try to put everything in an Excel format, guys, don't worry. Okay, so that it will be very clear to everyone. It's a sales, and what is the one? It's a sales organization. Basically it would be of a TM05, and the business system group is the same, right? So that's how we will try to have the entire organizational hierarchy that will be linked in our transportation systems. First point, am I clear here, everyone?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, come back.
Yeah, it's clear, Sunil.
Yeah. Sorry, it should be the sales. So if you see this, so far we have assigned, like if you can see in our company code from the transportation system, this particular TM05, we will be having this particular purchasing organization assigning and the sales organization assigning here. Why are we trying to assign the purchasing organizations and the sales organizations? Just to recap for everyone. Now I believe Nagaraj or someone, we already had this discussion in the last class. Like in a sales perspective, what are the activities we are trying to perform in a sales order? What is the most important fields that we will try to fill it out here, guys? Anyone? In a sales perspective, what would be the fields that we always required when we want to create a sales order, guys? Just for the sake of understanding. Hello?
Sales ARC is required.
Sales org, and then
The sales area is required. Then the sold to party you have.
then yes, you're coming sold to party and as well as a ship to party,
Ship to
right?
Party. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. So sold to party and a ship to party we would be required in order to have these things. Agreed. Now, upon having this, what are we trying to do here now in the transportation systems? Ideally, we will not have. Okay, I was talking about two things, right? A shipper and an LSP. Now let me explain you this. A shipper is a scenario where we will be having already an ERP system or some kind of an S4 ERP or normal ERP in systems in place where they would like to have a control of their transportations. I mean to say that they would like to have a control on their transportation business. Okay, and LSP is a kind of a scenario where you will go to, because there will be a kind of an third party fleet services or something like a FedEx or a DHL, where you will approach them and then you will try to make use of their services. You're getting my point? In that point of time, you will not have a kind of a sales order or something, right? Hello?
Yeah, yeah.
You're getting me? So
Yeah.
in this case, what happens is we will have a sales order, and against a sales order, we will try to have your deliveries and all the other informations getting created there, right? But when it is coming to your LSP scenario, you will not have a sales order. It's just a forwarding order you will try to create. And from a forwarding order, we will try to maintain all the other informations there.
Okay.
Am I making sense or still not clear here point?
It's clear. Sorry.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
coming to the other point here. Yeah. Now, why do we require this purchasing and sales organizations here? Yes, the reason behind that is this particular purchasing or a sales organizations are required in when we are using this particular shipper scenario. We want to buy some services. I mean, like buy in the sense we want to make use of their services, right?
Yeah.
So what are we trying to do there? We are trying to purchase some services there. Agreed?
Yes.
So in return, what are we trying to get there? We will be getting some kind of a services there, right? Like
Right.
what a
Right.
transportation service you're getting there, right? So that is the reason why we are using a purchasing organizations. First thing. And the other point, like why are we using a sales organization here? Because in case of an LSP scenario, those are the people who are selling their services. Then you will be the customer, the end party, and they will be making use of the sales organizations. Ideally, when it is coming to the core business processes, both the process will remain the same. There is no change in that. But the origin documents, like the shipper will always come from a sales order, and the LSP will always comes from a forwarding order. These are the only two major differences which we always have to keep it in mind. Am I clear, everyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what we ideally discussed even in the last class, and then we thought of taking ahead, guys. Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And in today's class, what did we do is we tried to maintain a simple kind of an org structure. We have created it, and then we are trying to have the link between your TM and your ERP. So that is what the link which we have generated. Why? Because why are we trying to do? In our transportation management systems, we cannot use your purchasing organization like TM05, whatever. It will try to, it expects some kind of a numeric numbers like this. And that is why the reason why are we creating in the PPOCA transaction. You got my
Mm.
point, everyone?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, basically this transaction is mainly used by the HR module, guys. It's not by us, but we are making use of it in order to create this particular org IDs. That's the most important thing for us. Okay.
Okay.
Am I clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the first thing. And now coming to the second part, we ideally need to understand few things. What are they? In order to have a few things such as what your if you can see my screen, guys, I was just trying to share a few things.
I'm not sure. I see the names of our the participants here.
Well, let me reshare it again. What about now?
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine.
Ah,
I can see now.
all right. Okay. Yes. So what are we trying to do here? This is what we said now. Okay. Anything like in this particular S4 landscape, guys, please remember that we will be having two different kind of things. Like what? One is about my S4 basic licensing. The other one is about my advanced licensing. Okay, so the basic licensing is the one where we will be using it in for the small transportation scenarios, and the advanced scenarios are the one where we'll be using it in your complex networks. That I'll try to make you understand that. Okay,
Yeah.
so So this is what we will try to understand the master data and the order capturing and the planning and the carrier selection, charge calculations, freight order execution. Track and trace, we are not doing it here, but this is one of the things different ones. Settlement will be doing it, all of the things. So these are the ones which we will be looking into one by one slowly, guys. Okay, hello.
Yeah, yeah.
And does it make sense to everyone what are we trying to do now so far? So far, it's, I believe I'm clear.
Yes.
Okay, so once we come back to the next class, we will try to start creating the master data. Like what kind of a master data that we would be requiring in our systems? For example, your location master data, or your vendor master, or your customer master, or your carriers, or whatever it is. So we will try to list it out all the master data on what scenario and why would be requiring for this, and based on that, we will try to configure that accordingly in the system base. Okay. Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sri.
Okay then guys, okay, thank you
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's catch
Yeah.
up next week, and then sorry, next class, I'm so sorry, and then we will take it ahead. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Sri.
Okay.
Okay then, thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.